to the 8th episode of A Year of Career, 52 Practical Answers to Your Questions. I'm Erin Wolfram. I own and operate Career Advantage and Career Advantage Golf, where I help people feel more confident and prepared throughout their job search by assisting with resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, mock interviews, anything job search related. But every week in this podcast, what I do is I answer one career-related question or job search-related question from the public. And this week's question is, when making a career transition, how do you get your resume noticed if you don't have related experience? So first, to be completely honest, your resume likely will not get noticed if you don't have related experience. So the real question then becomes, what can you do to enhance your resume and put yourself in a position to get noticed? How can you get those skills and qualifications that are going to make you qualified? So first I would say, and I sound like a broken record because I think I talk about this in almost every episode of this podcast, but reach out to your network and let people know what you're interested in doing. See if they can help you get connected to people who are in that industry that you're interested in. See if they know of opportunities that you might want to consider so you can learn more about what it's going to take for you to get qualified and become a quality candidate for those positions. So if you've already established a professional relationship with someone who may be hiring for a position that you're interested in, that can certainly help. The saying goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and a lot of times that's absolutely true. So if you know someone who is in the industry that you're trying to get into, who may have a job opportunity that you're interested in, that you maybe don't have a lot of related experience, definitely reach out to that person or try to get connected to people in that industry because they can help you get your foot in the door. Sometimes hiring committees are willing to talk to people who have a lot of potential but may not have all of the skills right now, because if you have the potential, they're willing to put in the effort to train you because they know that you have the passion and that you have, like I said, the potential to be really great. So do tap into your network, find out if you know anyone who's in the field that you're interested in, or if someone that you know may know of someone that they can connect you with, because again, knowing somebody may help you get your foot in the door even if you aren't 100% qualified. But I don't recommend that you completely rely on this because there are certainly some positions that are going to absolutely require you to have certain qualifications before you could ever be considered. So also make sure to find positions that you're interested in, look at the descriptions, and evaluate what they're looking for. And more importantly, evaluate whether or not you have those qualifications. So figure out what qualifications you already have and what qualifications you need to be competitive. Next, I recommend talking to people in the industry to get their perspective and feedback. So you may not know anyone who's currently in the industry, but you can utilize tools such as LinkedIn, company websites, things like that to reach out to folks to see if you could do an informational interview, for example, to let them know that you're interested in getting into their industry and transition into that industry, to get their feedback and their ideas on the skills, strengths, and qualifications that you still need to get in order to be competitive in their industry. So you're getting two things there. One, you're making new connections, which is fantastic. Like I said, it's not always, what you know, it's who you know. So now you're making new connections in the industry, but you're also getting that industry perspective on what you need to be qualified. And it's likely those people will be able to maybe provide some recommendations on ways that you can build your resume, that you can gain those skills and get those experiences that you need, again, to apply and be a top candidate. So once you have a pretty good idea of the skills and experiences that you need to be a qualified candidate, next you need to figure out what you can do to actually achieve those qualifications, okay? So first, you could definitely see if there are any opportunities within your current organization that you could get involved in that might help you build your skill set. So a perfect example, when I was working at a university, at one point I was interested in sort of leadership development, staff development, but that was something that I wasn't doing in my current position. So I approached our director and asked him if I could start a staff development program within our office. He said yes, and so I started doing, monthly trainings. So that's just one example of something that I was able to do to build my skill set related to staff development. So that's something that you might want to consider as well. If you are comfortable talking to your supervisor, if you have a good relationship with your supervisor, ask them about opportunities that you can access within your current position to see if you can grow your skill set. Next, you could absolutely look for volunteer opportunities that are related to the field and position that you're interested in. Volunteer opportunities are a great way to add experience to your resume and build your skill set and strengths. Remember, experience doesn't have to be paid. So think about opportunities in nonprofits or even professional associations that you're involved in where you could get more valuable experience that's going to make you qualified for those positions that you're interested in. Another good example from my background is I was highly involved in a professional association called Kansas Association of Colleges and Employers. And I really immersed myself in that organization. And just one example of a new skill that I developed from being highly active in that organization is event planning. They have a conference committee, and I ended up being on that conference committee for several years and was able to coordinate a number of event logistics. Eventually, I was the chair of that committee, and so I was able to add event planning as a new skill that I had. And now I have years of experience in event planning thanks to that volunteer position in a professional association that I was already involved in. Also, think about classes that you could take to build your skills. There are a lot of inexpensive classes that you can take either in person or online to build your skill set. So think about things like maybe a Photoshop class or a photography class at your local art center, for example. Or you could actually get a personal training certification through an online program. So there are a lot of different opportunities out there through various in-person and online organizations that you can build your skill set. And then finally, something that you might find as you're doing your research is that you actually need to get more formal education. And if that's the case, if you actually need to get maybe a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or even a PhD level education in order to be competitive in that field, then you really need to evaluate whether or not that is something that you are wanting to do. If you are willing to invest the time, money, and effort that it's going to take to earn that degree, if it's worth that to you. And that's just something that you have to think about if that is something that might be a requirement for the positions that you're interested in. So just to recap, I feel like do whatever you can to gain those skills, to gain that experience and those qualifications that you need in the positions that you're interested in. Definitely do that rather than just shooting your resume out there without having the qualifications that you need, because that's probably not going to lead to very much success. So tap into your network, utilize the people that you already know, make new connections, build new skills, get new experience, and that way your resume can really represent that you are eventually qualified for those positions that you're most interested in, and hopefully you'll get an interview and eventually land that job. So those are my best tips for how to get noticed if you have unrelated experience. If you don't have any related experience for positions that you're interested in, basically get that experience so you do have related experience. Again, I'm Erin Wolfram. I own and operate Career Advantage. So if you have any questions related to job search or your career development, you can always contact me. My website is careeradvantageresumes.com. You can also find me at careeradvantagegolf.com. And if you have a question that you would like me to answer on this podcast some week, you can always email me at Erin@careeradvantageresumes.com. Thanks a lot and have a great week.